Well, I just hit it. Let's see. Here we are. All right. I believe our Sports Network. Such time as this. We're about mid-April. A lot of stuff going on. We just got to go to Death Valley and get a little taste of football. Let's mention a few things first before we get into sports talk, and we'll announce our guest.
Hardly a guest.
Huh?
Hardly a guest.
Hardly a guest, actually. He's part of the crew, part of the Albeo crew. A little bit about what's going on. We got a date for August the 31st at Clemson Marina Bar and Grill. We'll be doing a live show.
Woo woo!
We're also doing a live show at Vape Nation. The times are kind of iffy. We hadn't decided on the time. We're going to kind of wait till we get a little bit closer. So far, we've got 2 live shows we're doing for the Georgia game. And Vape Nation, we did last year. And Clemson Marina, we're excited about that. We had to go through Brunswick marketing and through Georgia. They came back, and we got approved. So we're excited about that. It's going to be a great location. And so JHA, IV Bar, and Med Spa came on last week and signed up. They were actually on our spring game show.
They sure were.
And of course, we had Wake and Bake, and they came down and brought those donuts. I still got some in I ate a couple before I came on the podcast. I'm gonna tell you something. I had weighed myself at the gym. There they are. I weighed myself last Monday. I was 192. I got to the gym this Monday. I was 199. So evidently, all that eating out at all Wake and Bake and everything, I'm gaining a little bit of weight. But anyways, without any further ado, a lot of y'all know this guy. He's a wild and crazy guy. It's Mike Adcock, who does our
Hello,
live.
everybody.
And he was at the spring game with us and on the spring game show. So I guess we'll talk about a little bit of what we saw in the spring game. What's your take on that?
I mean, I think that it's a spring game. It's just they're trying other guys in positions. One thing that I did notice that I noticed this year that I didn't notice as much in the past. They were trying more kickers this year.
Yeah.
A lot more, it seems like this year.
Yeah.
More so than any other time that I've noticed. Where they'd give some guys 3 times to kick a ball before, and I guess it took the best of the 3. I don't know what they were doing, but I noticed that a couple times they did that before kickoffs. And then obviously Pearman looked phenomenally good. So, he looked 14. He looked really good. Viziana got some play. Number 17, he got some play. And of course, Klubnik too. He looked okay. He could look better, but I'm not beating him up for that. I mean, there's a lot of things that we don't know. So, I'm not going to second guess the coach on that stuff. Good. Pearman had 1 try. No, I mean that's just not going to do.
One thing that I think, and this is kind of like, after our live show right after the game, it's kind of like the knee-jerk reaction, if you will.
Exactly.
But now that, I've had a few days to kind of contemplate some stuff and think about some stuff, I actually have it recorded on TV, so I'm going to go back and rewatch it and, take another look at things from a outside looking in type situation versus at the game that day I was inside looking in, I will say this, we got to remember it's spring. It's spring. They had a spring camp, spring practice.
Exactly.
They're about to they're going to take break. They got the finals, all that good stuff. And then they're going to hit summer camp.
Yeah.
And that's when it's the grind. It's sweating hard, putting it in the work, that summer camp leading right up to that Georgia game in September. And that's where I think, as some say, men separated from the boys.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of fans, especially in a lot of the Facebook and social media, the knee-jerk reaction was, yes, Pearman stood out, no doubt.
No doubt.
He definitely has what I think he has what it takes, but
he looks so relaxed. He looked comfortable and relaxed. He just looked like
I mean, absolutely.
I think he was a professional.
But he also just had that right there. What you said, Josh. he had no pressure. See, he
That's
didn't have the spotlight per se.
Right.
So everything for him was up, and
Yeah.
and we don't know that. And another thing too, you got to remember these guys are playing touch football. If they touch him, he's down.
Well, I said that Saturday. I said, how many sacks were really sacks? There were a lot of
How
sacks
many
made.
touchdowns were not made because they got touched? I mean, there are a few they were going to break it all away.
Right.
But
So, there's a couple of them. I mean, Viziano got one in the end zone that they were like, it was ankle touch.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count that. Okay.
So it's good to see a name come out. That a
I
week
agree.
ago, nobody was even talking about Pyramid.
Sammy Brown looked great.
Mike, me and you were talking about him last July, and we had that first original show.
Oh, absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
said, y'all remember this name, Sammy Brown? And when they were, he was highly recruited. And they thought he was going to go to Georgia in the last moment. He chose Clemson. And I started watching some of the highlights on him. I said, this dude is a freak of nature. He's like one of these 1 in a million. Lawrence Taylor, Brian Boswell, type guy. And athletic, fast. I mean, you watch some of his films. And the first play from line of scrimmage he made, I know it was a spring game. It wasn't a real game. His name was mentioned on the big screen. Sammy Brown.
It was good to see not Brent. I'm so used to saying Brent Venables. It's good. It was good to see Venables back in the field. Missing him last year was, I think, a little key there. So now you got Sammy Brown, you got Brent Venables. I keep saying Brent Venables.
It's his son.
It's like rolls off the tongue. But yeah, it was good to see Venables back. It was good to see Antonio Williams back.
Yeah.
First looks in spring to see those two guys back was really, really good.
It was. I agree.
Wesco, the receiver.
Yep.
Wesco. Oh, dude, I was impressed with him.
And they've been a lot of talk about him. He made a couple good catches, and they comparing him to like T. Higgins.
Yeah,
he's got about the same build. He's not. He's kind of skinny, but still he'll put on a little bit of muscle. But he reminds me a little bit of T. Higgins.
Strecko was another name that stood out to me, and I kind of feel like, Maffa's going to be the number one back.
Oh yeah,
I can't see why he wouldn't be, but Phil Maffa will be the number one back. But who's the number two? And spring game told me Strecko.
Right, and that's the thing that Clemson's going to have. They're going to have. They're going to have good depth in that position that they can constantly be putting new guys in there, which is very important because that's just important to keep legs fresh and just keep able to drive and go from there. So, but you're right. That spring there was a lot of things we saw, but it was okay. I'm not displeased with anything.
College football was a one back deal. Nowadays it's a two-headed monster almost for every team nowadays.
Well, it's still saying you need to have the run game to open the pass game. So you got to be two-dimensional, not one-dimensional game. You got to have running and passing going on both at the same time. So you have to have one to do the other, because if suddenly your pass isn't working, they're putting 8 in a box because they know you're going to run the ball. So what are you going to do now? Now you're screwed, and you can't do anything. So that's important that you have to be able to open it up, and that's really important right there. Our first game is going to be Georgia coming up. How do you think we're going to fare versus Georgia?
Well, we got time to get ready, and we got the Luke guy's offensive coordinator that got hired. I'm excited about that. We don't always talk about the offensive line, and I keep bringing it up, but I think we've made some progress there, because that was a real problem last year.
Yeah.
So we got him in.
I think we're gonna play well. I do
too.
It's not a neutral site, that's for sure. But
I am not
no,
worried.
It's not.
After Saturday, even like I said, it was spring. It was spring game.
Mm-hmm.
What I think they had 6 weeks of practice, maybe 5 weeks of practice, something like that. And defense looked like it never skipped a beat.
Yeah, agreed.
And my defense looked better.
Yeah, they
than
look
they
better.
did in
Well, the
season.
secondary looked good, real good.
Well,
Yeah.
Secondary looked very good.
Technically, the defense was
than
solid
it
last
did-
year.
Defense looked better than it did in the Kentucky game.
Exactly. And we
And
did in the all season when it was all said and done last year, we didn't really have a lot bad to say or about defense. It was basically the offensive line.
I'm not going to go with you on that we look better than the Kentucky game, because the Kentucky game was pivotal because they learned a lot on that one right there. They learned how to win, and that was real important right there.
Yeah.
Though we looked very good, and I agree with you. We didn't skip a beat. It looked like on the defensive side.
I mean,
The
defense
offensive
played
side
well in the
still
Kentucky
struggled.
game, but I felt like what I saw in the spring game, because if you know, like I said, spring game, none of the starters are together. You know, they're all spread out. But if you looked at it, orange and white defense literally held their own. Like they look good. Now take all those starters and put them out there, and what would you have? You know.
Exactly.
So, and I agree. I agree 100%. So it's going to be interesting. And the truth is, we always play Georgia tough. Georgia plays us tough too. To be fair,
Yeah, we're due.
So
we're due to beat Georgia.
It's going to be a good game. I mean,
we're going to win.
Georgia Clemson. Georgia Clemson, in my opinion, and it's just me, but Georgia Clemson is a better rivalry game than Clemson USC. It is. It is, because it's a knockdown draw. It's a dogfight. It really is. And it just is. And the truth is, you got two programs that really are just proud of their programs, and it just becomes a fight. It just becomes an absolute fight.
Go back to the last time we played Georgia, first game of the season. DJ Uiagalelei was the quarterback.
Yeah.
And the score was a pick six away from a tie.
Yes.
Yep.
Exactly. That was the deciding factor.
Now, do you go with Dabo's excuse, which was the receiver ran the wrong route? DJ put it on the point, but the receiver was not in the right position? Maybe. At the same time, DJ probably should have seen that. But, again, pick six difference, and it was 3-3.
DJ in that case, okay? Because I'm not bashing DJ, but I'm going to say
no. I've been a DJ fan since he's been here.
DJ, a quarterback has a. It's kind of like a fastball being pitched to a batter. A batter has about, just a split second, just a couple hundredths of a second is all he's got between releasing the ball and swinging. Well, the same with a quarterback. He only has a split second or two to make that decision. And knowing he's supposed to be, he's supposed to go this way, but he ends up going button hooks around or whatever he does, and he's not where he's supposed to be, and he makes that decision thinking he's cutting and he's going to go over there, and he's not there. What do you do? The quarterback looks bad, but the truth is he didn't run the route, and now the guy gets it because – so, yes, the quarterback looks bad, but is it really the quarterback's fault? He takes the blame for it.
And I agree with that. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I think, one, I have to go off of what Dabo said. He said the receiver didn't run the right route. He didn't run the right, deal there. So DJ puts it on a spot and the receiver's not in the right spot, pick six. But again, you go back to that game and it's a 3-3 game if you take that out of the equation. This year, this coming season, I think that it's going to be a knockdown drag out and it's going to be close.
I agree. I completely agree with you on that. So it'll be interesting. The question to me is, how will the offense perform?
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the real question right now, because
we can give K time and we can block. I mean, it doesn't sound sexy, but we can block and open some holes, and we're not shifting all over the place.
And let's go back to what you just said. Let's go back to that, Josh, because that's the truth. Many a times last year, the offensive line didn't give Cade the opportunity for him to set up properly, and he got rushed on so many times.
Yeah, exactly.
And yes, you can blame inexperience because inexperience came into it sometimes. But the truth is, he got rushed so much that all of a sudden he didn't know what to do, and that was a problem right there. And yes, linemen, just like anything, it takes a maturity factor you got to look at, and there's a lot of factors in that situation right there. So yeah, it's a growth thing. And so I agree with you. I agree. It's a situation. I think summer's going to have a lot to do with it. We're going to see. We're gonna see a lot of opportunities, and I'd be really curious to see what the portal scenario is going to do too.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, go back to the Georgia game with DJ, sacked 7 times.
Right.
If you watch every game from that game on, DJ, if you watch him, he looked like I don't have any time.
Oh, that Georgia game, he looked like a deer.
Throw the ball like right away.
He was.
And he was making bad decisions.
Yeah.
And he was making bad decisions because 7 times sacked in one game against Georgia.
That's a lot.
And that affects the mind.
Yeah.
It does.
I don't know.
About it.
I'm as excited as I was when that got hired.
I think what's the average for a quarterback in a pocket passing situation is 5 seconds?
Yeah.
No, is it even 5 seconds? To be honest with you, it's like 5 seconds might be on the high side. To be fair,
that's on the high side. It's more like 3.9
but in DJ's mind from that season, it was like 2 seconds.
So no, I mean I feel a lot better this year, knowing what I know now, seeing what I saw last year, going into the season. I think we're sitting much better than we were last year. I mean, from Cade, more experience. Also Garrett Riley's back for a second year. He should be able to get the kinks out, learn a little bit about what happened last year, and I think he's going to be a little bit more comfortable running off.
I will say that the play calling in the spring game looked a little bit better.
Yeah.
I think we showed some plays that were good. We didn't do a lot of screen plays like we normally do.
No.
But they were still
there.
I
agree with you on that. I agree.
I agree.
Yeah.
They were still there, but they operated a little bit better with those screen plays. Because there was one screen play that went for like 10, 15 yards.
Yeah, I'm really curious to see what our offensive coordinator does, how he develops himself. We had a lot of young coaches that are being developed. They're now in their second year. So I'll be curious to see a lot of that situation right there developing too. Because remember, Dabo, not only is he developing a team, he's now developing a new staff. And so there's a lot of factors involved in that stuff right there. You remember, he's the CEO of the team. He's developing both offensive and defensive side. He's having to he had 6 coaches he had to fill those slots into or more. And so and these guys are now second-year coaches now. They're not first year, but they're second-year coaches. So they got a little experience under their belt. And that's a lot. You got to realize everything that's going into this stuff. And I'm trying to give them some slack. I mean, the truth is, Dabo's done a phenomenally good job, and I don't think he's done yet. I think he's got a lot of opportunity. And there's a lot of people that truly do back Dabo with everything. So,
he took a lot of criticism with sticking with promoting within, and he promoted Streeter to offensive coordinator, and he gave him a good season, whatever, and it just wasn't working. So he made the hard decision. Let him go. Hired. What's his name now? His name just went out of my head.
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of it. Right,
he hires Garrett Riley.
Garrett Riley, yeah.
One season with Garrett Riley, of course, fans are like, "What's going on?" And me personally, like I look at everything on the game. I don't look at out here. Offensive line was a huge issue last year.
Mm-hmm. I think we corrected
huge issue from the year before that.
Well, remember that he also got rid of the offensive line coach and hired a new one.
That's where I was going.
Yeah, Luke also got some good recruits.
That's the offensive line coach. But what I like though is who he brought in.
Yeah, Luke.
Correct. Exactly.
And he's already making strides.
Yeah.
He is absolutely.
And I'm
And then,
excited to see
and
what,
then, and then he brought in LeVon Kirkland.
Yeah, the Mike Williams and the T. Higgins and the big guy, the big play guy hadn't been there. And I think with Wesco, and we got Tyler Brown from Greenville. He's pretty solid. He was a true freshman last year. But I'd like to see, them to take some big shots like they used to. Wesco and jazz it up a little bit longer passes, and let's have some of those breakaway things.
Well,
it was getting kind of predictable the first couple games last year. I think we need to jazz it up a little bit.
It was getting predictable 8 games in the season, to be fair to you.
Yeah.
It was getting very predictable. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And like I said,
TCU.
Garrett Riley and his play calling last year, he had to think about, okay, what can the offensive line protect with, little short passes. That was about all he could get them. And if you notice, almost every game, every play was like about a 10 to 15 yard short pass or a little bubble screen pass or something of that nature. And I think that was only because the offensive line, that was about the only time that they could give them.
Yeah. Yes, and I agree with that. I think that's a lot to do with it right there. And that also goes down to, I think you're going to see a big, hopefully this year, but if not this year, within the next year or two, you're going to see the offensive line is going to be the big focus. I think that's without a doubt. You're going to see huge things on that side of
new offensive line coach already made a big difference.
Right. The offensive line is where the battle is, and you got to win that line, bottom line, and so obviously you're not going to win them all, but let's face it, we're going to have to win more than we lose, and that's how the game's going to be. So I'm not worried about defense. I think defense looks phenomenally good.
Oh, defense looked amazing,
and I think we got the factor with Sammy Brown, the alpha male.
I mean,
we were talking about that.
Woodaz was out there. Was out there. Venables was out there.
Yeah, I mean, we're missing the Ben Boulware, the Christian Wilkins. Now we got Sammy Brown. And I think that energy, I think he's going to be the leader of the defense, bring that enthusiasm and that synergy in.
And secondary
was kind of missing last year.
Secondary looked good. So
secondary looked real good.
And of course, the play of the whole spring ball game was the pick six.
Yeah.
That was an amazing play right there. And I'm telling you right now, we were watching from the stands, and I told Josh, I was like, man, that was incredible right there, because he literally just jumped up, grabbed the ball, and took off. And I was like, where did he come from?
That was that was a smart heads up play by that player. And just quarterback didn't make a mistake, in my opinion. He just happened to be made an incredible jump pass or jump catch.
I was going to say, the quarterback didn't make a mistake at all. The quarterback threw it where he's supposed to throw it. He literally jumped up 2 feet, grabbed the ball, took off running, and scored. So there you go.
Sanders, actually.
From what my view was, that ball was thrown very hard.
It was. I couldn't believe he brought it down. I was stunned that he brought that down. I was like,
90% of those passes are deflected.
Yes, exactly.
Not caught.
Exactly. That's one for the reals, to be fair to you, because that's just one of those. That's one of those you look at and you could see that you could watch that 100 times and it wouldn't be caught like that, maybe more. That just wouldn't happen. So and go from there. So anyway, well, guys, I apologize to you. I'm going to have to cut it a little bit early, but I've enjoyed it. We'll definitely catch up soon. But this was fun, and but I'm looking forward to it. I really am. I think we got a lot to grow with. I think we got a lot. There's a lot going to be. There's a lot happening. So. Things are looking good. We just have to remember that overall, both on the coaching side, everything, the students are always rebuilding. You're always going to be rebuilding. That's one thing we got to remember. But this time we got to remember that we have a coaching staff that has also been rebuilt. Guys, you got to remember, not only did you have half the defensive coaches gone, but half the offensive coaches were gone at the same time. So now this is their second year in transition, and now switching out. And now he's having to make changes on certain ones and go from there. So a lot of things are going through, and he's developing some programs and going from there. And so it's not all what everybody thinks, but at the same time, remember we lose 3 games last year. And 2 of them were questionable. One of them we lost. But we didn't. So you know what? It is what it is. And I'm not going to knock away from Florida State. Florida State finished 13-0, and they lost to Georgia. But at that point, they were disenfranchised, and I'm not going to beat them up.
Mhm.
And so it is what it is. So
Yeah.
It's like we talked about before. Dabo looks like he's really trying to hit the portal. So all you fans out there, stop giving him a hard time about not hitting the portal because he's starting to do that.
Yeah,
I knew I had a feeling he would do that anyway. I figured that Dabo would give plenty of time for him to just wait and see what happens, and then just go from there. So, and that's what he's doing. So I'm looking forward to it. Anyway, guys,
all right, just
catch up.
before you get off.
Yeah,
You got 3 minutes, 2 minutes?
I got about a minute and a half.
Minute and a half. All right, so we're going to be at the baseball game, right? Friday?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so come out and see us. I know Bethany's going to be in town. I haven't met her. She's been doing a great job with I Bleed Ours Facebook page. She's going to be up there. So if anybody wants to meet us, maybe at the SO Club an hour before. And also, take me out to the ball game. We're number 1 in the nation, which is pretty cool.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah.
Just a little update. Women's softball's up 3-0 on them lamecocks.
Yeah. Any sport, any gender or whatever, it's good to beat the Gamecocks. Yeah.
I'm sorry you brought that one up, and I'm going to mention that. Can you believe the coach said what she said there?
Do what?
Yeah.
What the head coach for the Gamecocks said. I'm
Well,
sorry,
in my opinion, the reporter shouldn't be asking questions like that right before a championship game.
You know what? Okay, maybe, but
starter, if you will.
Huh?
But at the same time, you still did it, and you put your foot in. And she said, "Okay, if you want to go there, okay, I'm gonna go there." And she went there instead of saying, "I'm not comfortable answering that question right now."
And the Iowa coach diverted.
She should have done it. She's catching.
That's what I would have done. I would have diverted it too, but she didn't. She said, "Okay, if you want to go there, yeah, I'm fine with it."
Yeah.
Really? Okay, well, that's fine, and you just said it, so that's fine. That's
not a good look.
totally.
Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, well, guys, I do have to run, but
appreciate you, man.
Good to have you on, Mike.
Yeah, absolutely. And Josh, I'll see you guys. Are you both of y'all coming out Friday?
I will not be able to make Friday. I have a baseball game with my son on Saturday.
I'm staying over. Yeah, I'll come down. I guess I'm going to be recovering from surgery Thursday. I'll come down Friday. I'll get there early.
Very good.
You want to meet us?
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I think
Josh,
so.
we're gonna lift you up in prayer, brother. But everything will be good.
I think so.
Guys, I'll see you Friday, man.
All right, man. Appreciate you, Mike.
Take care, guys. All right. Bye now.
All right. So we talked football, a little bit about baseball. We hadn't had a podcast since we made the Elite Eight, have we?
Yeah, we skipped a week here. So
we didn't have it since we've lost. I mean, I think we were going into the
Yeah.
It
was a tough loss. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, they couldn't make a free throw, and Alabama couldn't miss a 3-pointer.
Yeah, I watched that last night.
It was a tough Elite Eight. I knew if we could win against Alabama, I knew it was going to be a tough game against UConn. And when Alabama won, I knew right away that Alabama was not going to beat UConn.
Oh, yeah, I knew that.
And they didn't. So,
not to be negative, if we won, I don't think I was already looking ahead because we started off good. I'm like, okay, we'll beat them, but I think it's going to stop.
Dude, we started out great, but then, like I said, we couldn't hit a free throw, and Alabama could not miss a 3-point. I don't even know if they missed a 3-point and all the attempts they made. I mean, it was ridiculous.
We just weren't on that second half, and the free throws and missing those, and just won our night there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
but baseball's on fire. They're ranked number 1 in the nation, which is amazing. Yeah. Hopefully, they can sustain that and keep on going and keep on trucking. And
April, what's May,
and so
it'd be interesting to see with the basketball team. I saw some of the guys at the spring game. They were out there.
I saw an article. Somebody posted a picture of PJ Hall.
He was in Spartanburg, and of course, I was in Clemson. He was at the Freight Yard, which is about 2 miles from where I live.
Nice.
We actually did a podcast down there. I would have gone down there. If I was in town, I would have gone down there. But
I saw something where it was showing him in Indianapolis or something.
Indianapolis. Yeah. Well, he was watching Saturday. He was in Spartanburg. He lives here. I've never run across him around town. I know he went to Dorman. Of course, he's in Clemson during football. I mean, during basketball season, but his parents live here and he went to school here. But Freight Yard's like an outdoor sports bar. It has live bands. We did a live Gator Bowl show there, me and Mike. It's a real cool place if you're ever in town. But, yeah, he was a friend. A couple friends of mine were down there, took a picture of him. I'm the one that I think shared that.
Nice.
Reshared it anyways. So it'd be interesting to see where that goes. Good to be at Death Valley Saturday. I mean,
I loved it.
It gets you.
I was one of my favorite experiences is always being in there, even if it is for the spring game. It was still fun to be there.
Long, after the last game of the season, you have that long wait. So spring game kind of gives you a little carrot out there. It gives you a little taste of football.
Yeah.
Before you have another wait. So it was just good to get out there and no pressure. And basically, you got to see a lot of people. A lot of fun. Spring game's always
Sometimes
fun.
I wish because again, it was spring game and you can't really judge too much on what happens in a spring game because again, they only have about 5 weeks or so, 6 weeks of practice after, coming off the off season.
Yeah.
But I wish we could have the spring game and then have another situation just like it, like maybe early August.
Yeah.
Kind of get, and then you can kind of see like a huge transition from how guys were in the spring game versus how guys were after summer camp.
Yeah.
Like, I wish they would do something like that
and do it was longer.
Yeah, well, that too, but I mean, technically it will be now that they're.
Well, yeah, I mean that's they're talking about the 12. I think it's
games.
Yeah, it's going to be longer. They'll give you more football.
Or 12 teams, I should say.
I mean, I freaking love football, especially college football. Man.
Oh yeah, I will watch.
Not playing, I'm watching somebody. I mean,
I will watch college if an NFL game is on and a college football game is on. I'll watch the college.
Exactly. Any day.
But yeah, I really wish we could have some type of a fall game or whatever you want to call it. We have the spring game and then we have maybe a fall game. College football, in my opinion, should have some sort of preseason, if you will. All right, for instance.
Well, they got an NFL.
Well, no, but we play Furman, right? We play Coastal Carolina. We play Wofford. We play, these games.
Play the Citadel this year. That's what
we're not going to lose this year unless you're South Carolina. You have a chance of losing those games, but Clemson's not going to lose those games. So, in my opinion, what they should do is take those games because we pay them to be there.
Yeah.
We're giving that school a lot of money to come get their butt whooped, if you will.
We give them like $1 million or more.
It's numerous.
And there's no pressure. Nobody expects them to beat us. They get paid. It gives them great practice because they're playing a better team.
But why not take those same games like Furman, Wofford, Citadel, whoever,
right?
Got
a preseason scenario is you wouldn't
take those same games and just make them early August, late July, something like that, and it not count win or loss for either team on either record.
I think it's a great idea.
And Furman and Wofford and all these teams that we play, that's a loss to them. That's a loss on their overall record.
Yeah, but it doesn't really affect them.
So why not make that a non-winnable, losable game and make it a preseason game? Still pay them a lot of money to come.
The only thing you got to watch out for in that is if you wouldn't want. It's just like NFL. You're not going to see the starting quarterback come out and play the game. I mean, you don't want to. You got to be careful.
But you get what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're trying to say.
Like if we play them week 2 or week 1 or week 5 in our schedule, it goes down as a win or loss for either team.
Yeah.
So they know that they're coming in to lose. Well, now for them, they know that they may have a chance to beat Appalachian and come in and take down a big dog. Okay. But at the same time, I feel like make that a preseason game. Make it to where we're going to still give them the money, but make it to where it doesn't count as a win-loss
I don't
And
have
you
a
can
problem with
maybe make it, you know, kind of maybe do it as like spring game rules where, you know, if you touch the quarterback, it's not a sack, or I mean, it's a sack, but you know, you're not tackling the quarterback, you know, something like that, and give it a real true preseason, because summer camp, that's when they need to, you know what I'm saying?
that. Yeah.
Really see where the players are.
Yeah. Let's look at the schedule here. Now that they don't have any times announced, I'm pretty sure that Georgia game could be wrong, but I guarantee it's going to be a night game. So we got Georgia, big game, starting off. Appalachian State at Clemson. Appalachian State is pretty decent. They have some decent seasons. Sometimes, you know, it depends on what year it is. Then we got NC State. After that, coming to Clemson. Stanford. Thank God we're not going to California.
Yeah.
Which I don't agree with all this West Coast ACC stuff.
Well, I mean, where was the Pac-12 going to go?
Huh?
I mean, the Pac-12. I mean, there were so many Pac-12 teams out there that just didn't. So, you know,
I didn't watch a lot of Stanford they didn't look that good. We shouldn't have a problem with them. I shouldn't think so. All right, so then we travel down to Tallahassee and we play in DJ. Next game to be October the 5th.
It'll be kind of funny if he ends up being the starter, but I don't know why he left Oregon.
Is that guy back, their quarterback? What's his name?
No, he let Travis something.
Travis, yeah, he was good.
Yeah, he was really good, but unfortunately, his injury.
Yeah,
but no, if I understand it correctly, he left to go. Oh, I think it was his last year, anyways. I don't think he had a choice, but yeah, I you know, unfortunate for him, but I just wonder if DJ will actually be the starter in Florida State. But, you know, going back to that, I'm just shocked that he left Oregon State. He did so well there.
It just seems like DJ.
Why transfer from Oregon State?
I don't know. It seems like he's playing it seems like he's been playing 10 years now. But it's got to be his last year.
Well, it's almost like he was like, oh, let me go to Oregon State. Okay, we got close to being up there and we lost. Now, all right, well, who else is out there that's competing that needs a quarterback? Oh, Florida State went 13-0 and they need a quarterback, so I'm going to go there. It's like he's ring chasing almost.
Yeah. I'm not even going to comment on that, but so Travis is gone, right? So who's the other quarterback he's got to beat out?
The backup? Well, okay, I take that back. So
the guy
Travis was the starting quarterback. He gets hurt. Then the backup comes in.
Played against Georgia,
gets hurt. Right? He gets hurt.
Still hurt.
Then the third string backup comes in, and right before the bowl game, he's out because they basically told him that he's not going to be the quarterback going next year, that it's going to be the backup that got hurt. Okay. So he transfers.
Okay.
So, you know,
well,
Florida State ended up being like a little bit of a, you know, for lack of better words, and, you know, sorry, cover your ears, young guys, but it was a shit show last year.
Yeah, well, the bowl game was. I mean, they played Georgia.
I'm saying is you had your third string quarterback. They don't get a Final Four bid. They don't get a Final Four bid, so now they're out. Now there's this whole lawsuit that comes out. Then their bowl game against Georgia, where they could have made a statement, in my opinion, could have went out there and made a statement to say this is why we should have been in the Final Four.
That didn't happen.
And half the team transfers.
Yeah, and they got
killed. Half the team transfers. They're out, and I don't know. That's why I just said, for lack of better word.
Yeah, I don't know why he chose Florida State of all places, but I don't know. It is kind of weird. All right, so I don't know who all is coming back. Florida State. I hadn't studied them really that much, but I mean,
Florida State will be a team to kind of keep an eye on.
That'll be a tough game because that is a tough environment.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Florida State will be a team to kind of keep an eye on in the early season to see, you know, what's going to happen. What are they going to do? Because again, a lot of people hit the transfer portal right before the bowl game.
Yeah.
Or
all right, so we got Georgia.
They either opted out or hit the portal.
Yeah. So far, Georgia, our toughest game. I think we can beat Georgia. We play a good game. Defense comes out.
I wholeheartedly believe we can beat Georgia.
We're
I think we
due.
will beat
We are
Georgia.
due. I'm calling it. We're due to beat them.
Yeah.
It's time.
I think we can beat Georgia. I think we
When's
will
the
beat
last time we
Georgia,
beat Georgia?
but it will be a close game.
When's the last time we beat them?
Let's see. We didn't beat them the last time we played, which was not
We did
last year,
beat
but
them.
the year
We did
before.
beat them like Cole Stout. I remember was playing, and they beat us. Then Watson
you put me on the spot with it, but
it's been a while, man. I mean, we
it's
beat
been
them
a while,
with
but it's
Walker
also we
playing.
haven't played them a lot in the last couple of years either.
That's true. All right, so Appalachian State should win that. NC State, that can be tough.
You say that, but Appalachian State's that one team that just finds a way.
Appalachian State has had some good years actually lately. Matter of fact, they had our quarterback transfer up there a couple years ago.
I hate to interrupt the broadcast here, but Clemson just hit a home run in the women's softball.
All right, let's score now.
It's saying 3-0 right now, but I don't know if that's absolutely correct.
So, all right, so Florida State, then we get Wake Forest at Wake Forest, Virginia at Clemson, Louisville, Clemson at Virginia Tech.
Okay, my bad. That was a replay. My bad. That was a replay. The person that hit the home run earlier in the game is now up to bat, but it is 3-0, top of the fifth. Clemson over the South Carolina Gamecocks. Good.
All right, so Louisville, Clemson at Virginia Tech, tough environment. Clemson at Pittsburgh. This is weird. We never play the Citadel. We played the Citadel second last game, which I don't like. I'd rather get them out of the way in the beginning.
Well, that's what I was saying.
Why are they not scheduled for November 22nd? I mean, I guess because we're playing Georgia. They could have. I mean, usually at the end of the season, the games count a lot, depending on what's going on with you, and you're looking at the playoffs. And no disrespect to the Citadel, great college. They're just not a dominant football team.
They beat South Carolina one year.
I'm not going to comment on that. Hey, I was telling somebody the other day, I remember when 9/11, where I was. I remember when Elvis died, where I was. I remember 9/11. And I remember when I heard for the first time that Citadel, I was leaving Little Caesars Pizza, and I got in my car, and they said Citadel just beat Carolina. I just had to laugh. I was in Woodard, South Carolina, coming out of Little Caesars with my pizza. And then, of course, we got South Carolina, and they're playing at Death Valley. So that's all right, so real quick, let's just kind of who do you see? Well, we can't really do this year like we did last year. Who do you see the 4 teams? We got 12 teams, man. So it's going to be interesting.
I mean, if we can win the ACC, I feel like we'll be in. I don't think
besides
it'll be a
Georgia, who's the toughest team in the ACC, you think?
Toughest team in the ACC this year. I mean, obviously, you kind of have to put Florida State in that category. Yeah, but again, it'll be. You got to see how they are and how they respond, because they did lose a lot of players after a lot of opt-outs, a lot of transfers. Yeah. So
Drake May left the Tar Heels. I don't know who their quarterback is this year.
Yeah, Drake May is not with the Tar Heels anymore, or he shouldn't be. But
we should be at Bank of America Stadium in December playing for the ACC championship. We should be. I
mean, I think NC State will be another tough component.
They're playing
Duke can't pass over Duke.
We're not playing
Duke has, I think, potential to be another top team again.
Yeah.
Other than that, I mean, I don't think Syracuse is going to be much of a problem.
No.
But, hey.
Louisville haven't been too good lately.
What's going to happen with these Pac-12 teams? I should say former Pac-12 teams.
The only one
what do they bring? What are they going to bring to the table?
Well, Stanford's had good teams. Stanford didn't look that good last year. Now, we don't play UCLA, and what's the other one? No, not TCU. The
SMU.
They what are they? 500.
But they weren't in Pac-12 before, so that's a weird one.
Well, they would have won a national championship. They didn't get that scandal.
Yep.
They had, what was that running back? They called it the train. It was the SMU train. It was, before then, this is way back in like the 80s. He was a beast. He played in the NFL. You remember they had a lot, but they had a real good team then. So I don't know. Everybody's talking about ACC and Clemson and FSU, and it could happen sooner. But I think that we're not going to see anything for about 2 years. This is a long drawn out process, court system. Somebody's like, "Is Clemson out of the ACC?" And I'm like, "Well, no,
not yet.
Not yet. They haven't been to court yet. You got to have
yet.
a preliminary hearing. Probably settle something out of court. Probably
we'll see in 2025 or 2026 as to what happens with that. So
yeah, it ain't gonna happen this year. Probably not gonna happen next year. Probably the following year if something happens. It may happen next year, but they're playing in the ACC this year.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
We'll have to see.
That grant of rights thing. When I first started studying that thing, looking at it, hearing about it, it gave me a bad taste in my mouth. I don't think anybody should have signed that thing. I mean, what was it, 30 years or 25 years? Signing your life away, like they want to have control over you, should have some kind of out.
Like that.
So
now,
hopefully,
I think a lot of people are thinking like, okay, well, Clemson's doing the ACC for, was it called grant of rights or something like that?
Yeah.
Does that mean that Clemson's leaving the ACC? Well, that's what everybody thinks. I don't necessarily think that that's what it means. I think it's just basically saying Clemson wants to say, hey, ACC, we want to change the way things are, and we want to make this conference a better conference. And I think they're trying to in a sense, make it legally where they could leave if they really wanted to without a horrendous penalty. But I don't know. I'm starting.
I've never heard anything like that.
Maybe Clemson doesn't really want to leave the ACC.
I can't believe they all sat down and signed that with 30 years. It's just like,
well, and I think that's why. That's why.
When did Maryland get out? Right? Maryland didn't sign it, and they just got out.
30 years ago, they make this deal, right? And then
it's a long time. I mean, 10 years max, but 30 years to sign.
And that's what I'm saying. I don't know if Clemson will really leave the ACC. I think it's just a ploy to say, hey, we could leave if we wanted to make things better. But then the ACC goes and makes this deal with the college playoff committee or whatever, where SEC and Big Ten gets this huge portion of the pie, and everybody else gets this other portion of the pie.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what was the tipping point was, all right, Clemson, Florida State, we're going to sue now because this is not right. You're going to sign a deal that says that the SEC and the Big Ten can get a bigger portion of the college football playoff pie revenue. And we're not getting nothing when we're your prime team of the ACC. Florida State's the prime team of the SEC. The ACC. And then you got North Carolina and Duke who's starting to creep up there and North Carolina State's another one that's starting to kind of creep up as being a prominent member of the conference. All of those teams was in bowl games last year. Hell, ACC had, I think, more teams in bowl games last year than most of the conferences.
Well, in basketball, look, Alabama got in there, but there for a while when we were in the Elite Eight, it was almost 50-50, ACC and whoever.
Well, you had North Carolina State, you had Clemson in the Elite Eight, and you had Duke in the Elite Eight.
North Carolina State, Clemson. All.
You had Duke, North Carolina State, and Clemson all in the Elite Eight. Other than that, you had UConn, you had Tennessee, you had Alabama.
Yeah, ACC's always been pretty strong basketball. I
Purdue, Purdue.
If it did happen, in my opinion, I don't like the big. If we're going to go anywhere, I want to go to the SEC. The Big Ten to me doesn't make any sense. But
and that brings me back to my point. Does Clemson want to leave the ACC? I don't think they do, because their only option is either go to Big Ten or SEC, and I don't know if Clemson really wants to go to either one of those.
Definitely don't want to
Because
go to
think about the travel point.
Why do you want to go up to freaking Michigan and play in Ohio
Well, but that's what I'm
State
saying. Think about the travel games
Yeah.
where they're having to go for
I
travel.
mean, this is the SEC. We're playing Alabama. We're playing Georgia. We're playing.
You got a lot more local teams in the SEC, but you'll be going to Texas.
Well,
You'll be
true.
going to Arkansas. You'll be going to Louisiana, Alabama, and Georgia and Florida is a lot closer.
Well, the bottom line is, unless they're going to get.
But if you go Big Ten, Big Ten. Look at where you're traveling: Nebraska.
Yeah.
Now California.
I don't know who out there in the West Coast said, "Hey, it's a good idea to join the ACC."
Well, I'm still
Yeah,
trying.
I'd like to hear that conversation.
I don't understand why and what the deal was and why the Pac-12 dissolved like it did. I mean, the Pac-12 should have stayed together as a conference. I mean, USC and
I'm gonna go to
Oregon and whoever else. It's off. I mean, kind of out of my mind right now, but all these teams that just left to go to the Big Ten and then others left to go, Big 12, whatever you want to call it. If any of those teams would have merged with anybody, the Pac-12 and the Big 12 would have been the bigger option. But Big 10, I don't know. But now you got these teams coming into the ACC, and it's like, well, it's called the Atlantic Coast Conference.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you going to do now? You going to change the name of the conference? Because it's not Atlantic Coast Conference anymore.
No.
It's the Atlantic West Coast Conference.
I mean, well, the Big Ten, it can be anywhere in the United States. I mean, but name-wise, SEC, Southeastern Conference.
Well, so to wrap everything up, in my opinion, I don't know if Clemson will really leave the ACC. I'll be surprised if they do. If they do, I think it'll go to the SEC. I can't see them going Big Ten because I'm just looking at the travel situation. I don't know if it'd be good logistically, financially to go to the Big Ten, but it is what it is. If Clemson leaves, I think it'll be SEC. But right now, top of the fifth. 4-0, Clemson over South Carolina.
They're solid.
If you're listening out there, they're on ESPNU right now. Baseball, what is it? Friday night?
Yeah.
We're playing Thursday night or just Friday night? Friday night.
I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be there Thursday night with me and Bethany and Mike and whoever else.
Right. So go see the Clemson Tiger baseball team. They are on fire. They are number one in the nation.
Number one in the nation.
Don't forget to go check the ladies out over at the softball field too.
Yeah,
they are
starting
to find their groove again. And hey, I can't wait till September.
It'll be here before you know it, man.
Yeah.
It'll be here for 140 something days away.
I did see one guy did enter the transport portal from the basketball team. I cannot think of his name right now, and it's driving me crazy because as soon as I said it, his name went out. But I did see that one of the players have entered the portal for the basketball team. So pretty sure PJ Hall, he's done. He's gone. But I'm excited for next year's team.
Basketball, you mean?
Yeah.
Football. But yeah, well, I mean, basketball. We got some good. Should be able to recruit what we did.
Yeah. I mean, going to the Elite Eight will help recruiting. So,
yeah.
But
and all they got to do is get that recruit on campus. There's something in those hills. I mean, we've interviewed a lot of people. Like, what made you come to Clemson? Well, I had all these offers, and as soon as I got on campus, I can't explain it. There's something about the atmosphere, the family environment, something about those hills.
Exactly.
So brag and get them on campus and let them fall in love with the campus, and we can get some good recruits.
Yep.
So, all right.
So, you got softball on right now. You got baseball coming up on Thursday, Friday, and I believe Saturday as well. Thank you to all the sponsors out there that have been coming on board. Can't thank you enough for that.
Yeah,
and
appreciate it.
Don't forget to go get your I Bleed Orange merchandise
at iBleedOrangeClub.com at the shop. And every week we give away a free shirt or free I Bleed Orange merchandise, but you need to subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you're a subscriber, we pick somebody at the end of the week and you win a free I'll Bleed Orange shirt or some merchandise of our choice, a $50 choice. All right. Sounds good, man. I appreciate it.
All right.
All right. We'll have to get Beth to coordinate this thing. We're going to have Ricky Sapp on next